Oh no, are you for real? Did I just say at the start of practice, oh, we've got such good weather, and then it started to rain? Alright everybody, hello and welcome back to another episode of Motorsport Manager with me, Spacefish, and welcome back to our second season in this game. Now, well, the first race, it didn't actually go all as bad as we thought it was going to, because if you'll remember, the season change kind of messed up, unfortunately, the allocation of parts to our cars, and, well, some of the stuff from the primary car went to the secondary car, and vice versa, and I developed the wrong parts and everything, and, well, regardless, we nearly made our sponsorship objective because all the other teams had some reliability issues and, well, overall somehow it didn't work out as badly as we thought it would. So the hope is there that we will maybe be able to achieve something a bit better this time around then. But you can see here that we've got a gearbox, I think, that finished developing rather recently. We're going to reject the interview for the time being, as usual. Manage pit crew. Nothing interesting there, to be honest, and the new gearbox here being finished. So that is one rather important step, I would say, because acceleration for this next race is going to be crucial, and we are going to develop another gearbox right after, because we can still go for the good, well, the blue rarity kind of level of gearbox, basically. So that is what we're going to do. We're going to go for this one here, probably, which does mean that this one will probably not be ready for the next race, because this does lower reliability by 20%, which is quite the big of issue, because we've got to push this to like 70 or 80% at least for it to be usable in race, and well, this year would be an alternative, but we would get like a tad bit less performance out of it, also get 2 more days for build time, so it's not really that worth it. This one has more potential, basically, and it starts out with better figures too, so this is what we're going to go for, but I'm kind of confident that we will probably not end up using it next race, so we'll have to see about that, and then Milan will be about top speed, so I think the next thing we will instantly develop after this gearbox is probably going to be new engines afterwards then, which will also be an interesting thing because we do have this test track under construction, which does take another 22 weeks, but whenever that thing is done, we will be able to go for yet another level of engine performance, so quite a bit of potential right there, I would say. Now, I think that we can currently not really work on any parts in terms of performance until my team's actually done fixing the car from last race. So let's go for that real quick. We also just got a sponsorship offer in, so I guess one of the sponsor slots dropped open, and you can see here that our fixed payment sponsors, we have 1 slot available now. We've got 2 3-stars and 1 1-star offer. This one here only being for 4 races, which kind of sucks a bit. But, oh no, that's only an upfront payment. I thought that was going to be fixed pay per race. Okay, that kind of sucks. I don't really want that. I mean, 750k upfront payment. I mean, it would be slightly below the 200k per race we would get here. Then again, I mean, we would be able to renew after 4 races. Alternatively, we can get this, but we would be bound to it for 10 races. Now, where does our marketability stand? It's not super great, but you know, the question is how much potential of increasing our marketability do we have this season, and I'm honestly not quite sure how to answer that question. You know, it could very much go the other way. We've only had 1 race thus far, so we wouldn't really be able to perfectly tell. Then again, I mean, 200k per race. What's our budget looking like at the moment? 1.1 mil per race lost. Right, I would like to get out of this screen, please. Well, I mean, this one here, for a start, definitely not being an option. I mean, 500k for 8 races is absolutely not something we want. We will need to choose out of one of these, though. And I'm really not sure which one I want to pick. Because this one here, in total, well, over the 4 races, we get a tad bit less money. You know, we're missing out on 50k, which is really not the most amount of money in the world. But after 4 races, we kind of get the flexibility to say, you know, oh, let's go for something totally different. This thing here, we're kind of bound to it for 10 races, but if our marketability ends up going down, that may not be the worst thing in the world. I think we're going to go with this one, though. I'm going to kind of slightly miss the fixed payment and everything, but after 4 races, we'll have the option to go for something new, and, well, maybe we'll find something better, maybe we'll find something worth a bit of a gamble worth taking, I suppose. Now, in terms of parts improvement, this thing is all done. We will, for a start, need to make sure that we actually have the better parts on this car now, which is indeed the case. Now, what are you currently working on improving the reliability on? Because this is certainly the worst. Yeah, okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to get both of these out of the equation. We will, of course, kind of focus our work on Hong's car, basically. Right, so that's what we need to do now. Our reliability in this car is down, like, absolutely messed up. We'll improve the reliability in all these 3 parts. The gearbox we will leave for the time being. I will kind of have to see which one I do want to go for in the very end, because, well, you can see, I mean, this one is at 40% reliability, so we would have to push it a bit, and we wouldn't really get that much more performance out of it compared to the current one we have. Then again, the current one we have is also only at 55, so kind of also a bit dependent on how these parts will develop. We don't have the longest amount of time till the next race, so we'll have to see about all this. But, like, given the amount of things we actually need to work on here in terms of, like, at least getting the reliability to where it needs to be, I'm quite confident that the second gearbox we're now developing will not make it before the next race. In fact, well, I mean, we've already gotten the part design underway, so we can't change it anymore, but we should have probably actually gone for the engine development just because it will not really affect us in that next race. So we could have just gone for top speed, but that's what it is now. That's the way we've decided to go. So let's move this on a tad bit and see how the parts develop. I will go and pause this right here, and we are at 70% engine reliability, which is honestly not the worst thing in the world. What I do want to do here is I am going to go to fit parts, and we are going to give this gearbox here to Hong. Hopefully we will be able to push that gearbox to where it needs to be. I think I'm rather confident that we will manage to within the time frame. We've got 15 days remaining. I think once the engine is at 75%, we're going to get that off the list. Probably going to get this thing on the list already, speaking of which. And we could also have a quick look at our pit crew. It does look like they're overall still doing pretty good. I don't think we're going to make the biggest changes in the world right now, given that our pit crew, honestly, looking at this, is already pretty good for the grid that we're working on. So I'd rather spend the money in other places right now. Now, with that said, the gearbox design is going to be finished soon, which is going to be great. We also have a bunch of scouting finished, not really much of anything left, so we're just going to get like some new scouting tasks into the queue, which for the time being we're going to do for non-employed drivers, because, well, the ones already employed are all in higher up championships and will probably not be interested in joining us in our bottom down one. Now, over here, 73%, not quite there yet. Gearbox design is finished though, which is good news. Didn't really change within a day, which is not the greatest news. We're going to go for the engine, as I said, already in preparation for that next, well, important race for us. Just going to go... well, risk level. We don't want risk level, so we're going to go for this one. Risk level basically means that if the Motorsport Association investigates our car, there's a risk that they actually flag us for breaking some rules. So we don't want to have that happen, especially since I think that part then becomes unusable and we get fined and put back play. Like, it's really not worth it most of the time, as far as I remember. This option here, though, very interesting. 5 days more build time, but 40 to max top speed is absolutely insane, so we will want that for the second engine that we build. For the time being, though, let's make this one that's going to take us probably till after the race, slightly, and well, I mean, then I think it's like 45. No, it's actually not. It's 32 days, so we'll have like 20 days to improve the new engine that goes into Hong's car, which should honestly work pretty fine, especially given that we now have the big factory. I think we are going to be pretty good in that regard. Now, this should get the engine to 74%. Okay, let's get that out of the way, honestly. I need the gearbox to be somewhat ready for the race. What is the most demanded part is, okay, so the most crucial things are acceleration and medium speed corners, so we're going to put the brakes back a bit. Actually, even going to put the suspension back a bit because the gearbox does need to be somewhat up to snuff so we can at least use it for this race. 78%, very usable though, I would say. We're gonna go... Are we going to go and push the reliability, or are we just going to push the gearbox performance to however much we can and hope that the car doesn't break? That's a good question right now, right? I think we're going to just push the gearbox. 7 days after race, we're not going to get it max, but we're going to try and get every last bit out of it before then that we can. So fingers crossed that's going to work out for us. There's going to be some race today, which we're going to go for right here. And yeah, on we move. Now, I mean, let's see where the performance of this gets to. I'm hopeful that it gets as high up as possible, basically. 109 out of 132. Very nice, to be honest. I think in terms of gearbox, we now have pretty decent potential. Nothing's going to blow up like crazy, I hope. Engine, honestly, being pretty far back in terms of performance compared to everything else, but yeah. So that's that. Then top speed next time. Then acceleration is going to be useful again, and top speed. So honestly, the chaining of parts developments that we're currently going for, I think, is going very much the right way. But yeah, let's see. I'm going to take this gearbox out of there for the time being, because we do of course have the even better one, which we are going to go and push into Hong's car eventually. Maybe we should have even gone for the reliability on this, but I think it would have been quite the stretch, so going for the safer option, probably the better thing. And then we can eye this one later down the line. Maybe we'll even prioritize like engine upgrades before everything else then, but holy moly, that engine performance is really low. But yeah, so I think we're somewhat well set, I hope. I mean, looking at the car comparison, you know, the gearbox is somewhat getting somewhere in comparison to the rest of the grid. I think we started out like here, so our developments have certainly paid off somewhat. Hopefully, yeah, hopefully we're going to do well. But let's go to the Grand Prix then. And we're going to go for our lowest sponsorship objective, of course, as usual. Like, we're not going to be any more pushing our luck right there. And then let's see what's the training, well, not the the training maybe holds for us. Usually, I don't know. I mean, the first time it wasn't. It's always a bit of a question of how much it really, like, the whole training part shows us how good or bad we're gonna do, I have to say. I mean, last time it was absolutely not telling us a thing. Maybe this time around we'll get a bit of a better idea, given like the weather being nice and people around us hopefully using similar tires. But we'll see about that. We will go, and what are we going to do for the setup? That's always a good question. I think a tad bit longer in terms of gears. Not much, though, given that there's also very tight and narrow curves. Somewhat like that should be fine. We do probably want a bit harder suspension. Maybe a tad bit more wing. I think we'll do something very minor like that for a start. We're going to go out on the softs, and then we're going to see how that does for us. We're going to do the same thing for Hong. So half a degree more right here. Like that. A bit harder suspension, bit longer in terms of gear ratio, and the soft tires, which in this car's case still get used faster, which I absolutely cannot explain. The gap seems to have shrunk a bit, honestly. Looking at this, you know, we were at 9 to 11 on the other car, I think, and 8 to 10 here. Usually the gap was always 2 laps, which is also an interesting one. But one way or another, they're very weird. I don't know if it's because the drivers do have different attributes, or if it's due to the cars being different, but let's go and take the practice. Let's at least try and find out how we are going to do in terms of performance. We're going to send them out with all the standard settings, of course, for the time being. We're going to get them to max settings then, and then well, let's see how they're going to do. I'm very much interested. Hong is going to be up front, so we're probably going to be able to somewhat see the performance difference of the cars as well, which I'm not sure they show on the outlap, given, I don't know, I guess they would have to, right? So, oh no, are you for real? Did I just say at the start of practice, oh, we've got such good weather, and then it started to rain? It's literally what just happened, isn't it? We're going to bring them both in. We're not even going to set a time here, because that's, well, not going to tell us anything. At least we're going to be able to get some knowledge from them, hopefully, in terms of how the car setup works for them. But yeah, other than that, oh god, that weather again. Alright, so we're going to have to go to wets, I suppose, for a while. I mean, the rain is going to calm down a bit eventually, but for the time being, we can really not go out on anything other than, well, than rain tires. Now, the downforce seems to be absolutely off. They want way more as far as I'm aware, so we're going to give them a whole degree more on every wing, I think. Hopefully that's going to go the right way. Handling being only okay, so maybe we try and do it a bit more understeery then. The speed balance is poor, so I guess we shorten the gear ratio. And then we try something like this, and hopefully that's going to work better for us. Let's send them out like that. Same thing for Hong, so we're going to give him a whole degree more in wing angle. We're going to soften the suspension up, and we're going to shorten the gear ratio a bit. Oh wait, no. No. He actually does like this, okay. So the more understeery balance is actually good for him. So maybe I went the wrong way with Gomez then. We will see now. Speed balance, I think, and downforce should be going the right way on these two. So let's see about their feedback. A bit of a different setup on the two of them now, but maybe that gains us even more knowledge about what the ideal setup should be like in the very end. Now, we're kind of obviously going to set the best time here, given that we are out on wets, so I don't really think it's worth setting a time here once more, to be honest. We are going to, of course, give them like one proper lap to, hey, setup level unlocked is beautiful. But we are, of course, going to give them one proper lap to actually get some knowledge back from them. But you can see now the sun's coming out and everything's drying off again, and we're going to probably go and send them out on some other tires again to improve that sort of the knowledge. Downforce seems to be going the right way from what I just saw down there. We will see about the other parts in just a second, and then we're probably, maybe, potentially going to set like one time on proper tires. Downforce okay. Really? Did I go too far, or? Maybe we're not going to send them out just yet and just see how it works for Hong. Downforce is good. The question is, did I overdo it, or did I underdo it? It was good here, and it's good there, so I feel like the balance must be somewhere in between. maybe like 0.3 degrees less would be good. Everything else in terms of speed balance, I would sort of kind of like to keep the way it was, so let's adjust some things. Yeah, and then we're going to go and send him out on softs again and hope that that's the good setup for him now. So, downforce, okay. Downforce, very poor. This is the question here now for Gomez. I think we're going to slightly lower the wing angle and hope that it works out for him that way. And then I suppose we will somewhat see when he gives us feedback. Worst case, we're going to change it on the race day, which I hope we're not going to do, but well, we'll have to find out about that. So that's the way that we're going to send them out for the last stint, and hopefully how we're also going to start setting our first time. And I don't know, I don't think we're going to get anything representative out of this, to be honest, given like that nobody really did a proper lap on soft tires. Like these people all, I'm pretty sure, did it in like semi-damp tracks, and you can see still people with inters setting better times than people with softs. So yeah, certainly still no representative times on the board, and I'm not sure we're going to get to see them at the moment, so we'll see, I suppose, in the race, what this actually holds for us. Now, that's the first proper lap. The handling is spot on, that's great. I mean, we didn't really change much of anything about that for the two of them. The thing that I'm interested in, though, is what they're going to say about the aerodynamics. And, well, for the time being, none of them says anything, which, hopefully, they're gonna say something about it sometime, so I get some sort of idea. Wrong. More downforce. Okay. So we went the wrong way. We need to push them even more, eh? Yeah. None of them are happy about the downforce, so we're gonna have to increase downforce. We're like a good second ahead of the field here at the moment, with Hong being slower than Gomez as well, despite having the better car, which is kind of surprising. But yeah, I mean, you can say that this is far from representative. Now, like, somebody with mediums was faster than us, because our times were pretty trashy to begin with. So, well, you know, we are not really going to learn too much from this, unfortunately. We're going to have to find out on race day just how good or bad we are going to be on this track, and we're also going to have to find out on race day just how much downforce we have to give them, because obviously we're not at the downforce level needed yet, so we're gonna have to increase that downforce a bit. Of course we were first and second in the training, but that always happens that we're at the very front, and then we always get well, thrown to the very back during the race. So well, we'll have to see about that. I'm very unsure about how this race is going to go, especially how they're going to do with better downforce. I'm kind of confused that Hong is not really much faster than Andre, despite having a significantly better car at this point. So we'll have to see about that. But, well, one way or another, I think that is something that we will have to find out in the next episode. So, next episode then, we're going to try and at least hold on to that sponsorship objective. Let's see how this Munich Grand Prix is going to go for us. We've certainly kind of beefed up the cars a little bit and are a little more prepared this time around. So I think the hopes are a bit higher up, but still a long way to go for us in terms of car development. So as long as we can hold on to that sponsorship objective, I would already be very, very happy, because that's a very rare occasion in this series, of course. But with that said, for today I'm going to end it off right here, and then we will catch up again next episode with the actual Munich Grand Prix. Hope you're all looking forward to that. I certainly very much am. For the time being, if you enjoyed the episode, as usual, please make sure to hit the like button down below. That does always help out a ton with the discoverability on YouTube. And if you're new around here and haven't done so just yet, also please consider subscribing right down below, as well as hitting that bell icon to stay up to date on all the future upcoming episodes. But with all that out of the way, as usual, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I will catch you in the next episode very, very soon. Ciao.